Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why I'm not jumping off the bandwagon of the new look Cavaliers.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why I actually have something negative to say about LeBron today. Speak for yourself starts now.
Oh, I can't wait to hear this.
Yeah. Now, it'll be brief. It'll only be a minute or so.
Very brief. All right, hello and welcome. We're joined today by NBA champion Steven Action Jackson and the founder of the Big Lead, just coming off vacation, Jason McIntyre. Let's start in Cleveland, where the new look Cavaliers looked a lot like the old look Cavaliers last night, getting beat badly by the Spurs at home. While LeBron had a great game coming up, 1 assist short of a triple-double, the rest of the team shot just 36% from the field, and the Cavaliers have now lost 2 of 3. Cowherd, are you concerned about the Cleveland Cavaliers?
No, because I think we were too high early on them and we're too low on them now. I think they're better than what we saw yesterday, and I think they're not as good as what we saw in the first couple of days. It is a limited team. I think what happened is LeBron pushed for a longer All-Star break, and he got it. And that allowed coaches 2 to 3 more days to look at film of the new Cavs. And so teams were ready off the break to see Jordan Clarkson and Larry Nance and Rodney Hood and George Hill, and it's a fairly limited offensive roster. They're younger. I think they're a little better defensively. But these are a lot of C-plus guys waiting for Kevin Love to come back.
You got the wrong team, the wrong people scouting the Cavs. I wish Tyronn Lue and the Cavs had looked at the film of their team so they'd actually know what they have. George Hill is shot. He is a shot fighter. He's a low expectations player. When there's low expectation, he exceeds expectations. When you put him in a pressure situation where there are expectations, I saw it with the Pacers, he goes downhill. George Hill should not be in the starting lineup. This Osman kid, he's not an NBA starter. They need Kevin Love back. They need this kid moved to the bench and play Jeff Green more minutes. Yesterday, if you looked up and down their roster, LeBron played 40 minutes and everybody else played between 20 and 25 to 28. They don't know who to play. I blame Tyronn Lue and the coaching staff. They got to figure out what personnel they have and who can help. I'd put this call to run back in the starting lineup for George Hill and leave Clarkson off the bench to lead the number 2 offense. But they just need to play the right people and find out
what?
And find out who should be on the court. They're just throwing guys out there. When I looked at the minutes played yesterday, I was like, they don't know who to play.
Mm-hmm. They got a lot of guys. It's a more energetic team now, but I don't think they have the experience and the what can I say, leadership besides LeBron. You know, you can't depend on him to lead for the whole game. You know, like when he had Kyrie, he had somebody he could take a break with. Now he don't have that. He have a great group of young guys. They play hard, they're energetic, but they don't have no experience. They don't have no long playoff experience. You don't have nobody to get on the team when LeBron's out the game. So they're gonna struggle for a while. It's gonna take a while to get that. You say they move a lot of lineups around because he don't know half these guys he got on his team. Everybody's new. He's still trying to figure this out. So they're gonna struggle for a while, in my opinion.
In that scenario, it sounds kind of scary because if they're struggling now, what's going to happen when Kevin Love comes back? They're going to have to shake up the lineup again. But I keep going back to who they shipped out. Do you guys remember? Isaiah Thomas, Dwayne Wade, Derrick Rose, guys with big egos, okay? Now you saw those guys' egos, you're out the door, okay? New guys come in. I'm going to listen to LeBron. I don't want to get sent to Siberia, okay? Jordan Clarkson's going to buy in. But there's a little too much deferring. I think what you're talking about, Whitlock, is like George Hill, a little indecisive. Hey, man, just shoot the ball. Go out there. Jordan Clarkson, take your shots. They were off yesterday. They struggled in the second half. But I looked at the schedule. 23 games left, only 11 against teams with winning records. They're going to be fine down the stretch. It's all about the playoffs.
That was a wounded Spurs team, too, a real wounded Spurs team.
Let's remember,
on the road, they controlled the entire second half. That was embarrassing.
Kevin Love's going to come back. We've got 23 games here. Let's not go crazy. I still think they're probably, due to LeBron, better than Boston, and they're going to get their doors blown off by Golden State. So in the big picture, what's really changed?
I'm not willing to go there. I like the pieces they added. I like Rodney Hood. I like Jordan Clarkson. I like Nance Jr. I don't like George Hill starting. He's 14 of 43 from the field since coming to Cleveland. I've seen it before. You put him in a big spot, he disappears. Put him in Sacramento or Utah off the radar, and he's a fine player.
Yeah, but Nance and Jordan Clarkson, they weren't doing anything in Los Angeles. They're limited talent.
I like them too, though. I think they're going to be good for them. I think, like I said, they got to find a way to come into their own and stop looking at LeBron for every answer, for every pass. All your shots can't come from LeBron. You got to be able to create some other shots for yourself. Then LeBron's going to get his. We all know that. You got to find some way to how you can contribute and be aggressive without looking to him.
He's their only shot creator right now is LeBron James. He had 9 assists. George Hill had 1. George Hill can't shoot. He can't create for anybody. Osman has no business being on the court. Jeff Green needs more minutes. Again, I'm not willing to give up on this team. This is the Speak for Yourself podcast, and I'm Jason Whitlock. Before the show moves along, I wanted to tell you today's show is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. It's that time again, that familiar crossroads of choosing between basketball and hockey. You can't choose, they're both on. Why are they both on? Relax, we have a solution. Buffalo Wild Wings. Rather than fill your living room with TVs, coming to B-dubs, we've got hockey and basketball on, each playing on dozens of screens so that you don't have to choose. And to complete the trifecta, we can ensure you have access to all the sports, foods you crave. From our selection of America's favorite wings and any of our 21 signature sauces and seasonings to shareable favorites like cheddar cheese curds and fried pickles, you'll have everything you've ever wanted. But wait, we also have a variety of beers to quench your thirst. All the basketball, all the hockey, all the food, and the beer you want. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Please drink responsibly. Now back to the show.
Well, LeBron's teammates weren't the only people he was upset with last night. After the game, LeBron took the referees to task for a lack of calls when he went to the hoop.
There's no reason I should be going to the line 4 times in a game when I drive 100 times to the paint. I'm getting hit and slapped and grabbed and whatnot. So, but we protect the shooter. That's what it's turned into. Chicks dig the long ball, and that's what it's about.
Whitlock, does LeBron have a point?
A great point. A great point. I generally don't like excuse making, but he's right. It's turned into a jump shooters league. When you go back early in his career, when it wasn't a jump shooting league, LeBron got a lot of calls and got a lot of trips to the line. Now he's at a point in this new NBA, Steph Curry shoots just as many free throws as LeBron James. That's criminal. That's criminal. LeBron James goes to the hole. He's a big body. He's hard to control. He should be getting to the foul line more often than just your standard jump shooter like Steph Curry. I'm not dissing Steph, but the league favors the jump shooter. We've done all make sure you don't put your foot here so they can't land. Everything's about protecting the shooter now. LeBron's got a point.
I think LeBron's throwing shade at the wrong people. Okay, LeBron's the biggest, strongest ball handler in the league. He's 6'9.5", 3% body fat, 245. He's a freight train. When he gets 2 dribbles in, it is over. Mm-hmm. You ever seen anybody take the charge from LeBron? It's never happened. He's 26th in the NBA in drives to the basket. He's not driving anymore. He's settling for jumpers. LeBron's free throw numbers are down to the lowest, third lowest of his career. And his 3-point attempts are like the 3rd highest of his career. Look at this graph. This is LeBron when he drives to the basket, which has been reduced. Only 2 guys in the league are getting to the line more when he drives. LeBron's become more of a perimeter player. I watched that game against San Antonio. Come on now. First of all,
he cried about a couple of fouls that were not fouls.
The other thing is, can we all acknowledge this? He's harder to officiate. He's like Shaq. He is a hard guy to officiate.
He is, but hey, you can't blame him. Blame God. You know what I'm saying? God created him, but we talk about he talk about that they protect the shooters. Well, the reason why so many shooters are getting fouled is because no one plays defense no more. You know why Pop's defense, the teams are so good at defense? Because he says if you foul a jump shooter, you coming out the game. You don't foul jump shooters, you make them make shots. That's why a lot of jump shooters are going to the free throw line. Anytime LeBron, Boogie Cousins, Russell Westbrook talk about not getting fouls, I'm listening because these guys are the best in the league. If they complain about getting fouled, not getting calls, I think I got to listen to them.
This is incredible. I was totally with Whitlock. I love that Steph Curry stat. Steph Curry's averaging the most free throw attempts per game. LeBron's second fewest of his career. But then I heard Cowherd, and I just got thinking about this. What if LeBron is looking big picture? And he's saying, wait a sec. I was on my way to catching Michael Jordan, and now all of a sudden the Warriors surpass me and have this super team, and now the Houston Rockets are in my way, and James Harden's going to steal the MVP from me. When all season I was in the lead for the MVP. What if LeBron is just ticked off? He knows he's not winning the title. Now the MVP's out. Shucks, man. Am I going to have to leave Cleveland again? What if this is a big picture play by LeBron? He's just angry and projecting about his future based on the free throws.
One thing he can't say is James stealing it. James earned the MVP this year.
But I'll say this, to his point, when LeBron fired at the refs this weekend, my takeaway was, no, LeBron, this is like when you start a fight with a girlfriend you're about ready to break up with, and you complain about you burnt the toast. You want out of the relationship. LeBron James is angry this weekend. No. So Kyrie left and he was angry, and they rebuilt the team and it failed. And so they made a big trade and they rebuilt the team, and LeBron's in that game realizing, I'm sitting here with a bunch of C-plus guys. And LeBron knows that if he leaves Cleveland, he's a ring chaser. He's the league's villain, and he doesn't want to be it, but he knows it now.
I don't think he's out on this group of guys. And he said that yesterday. He goes, this is the process. You guys are overreacting. Give us some time to figure it out. I don't think he's out on these guys. I think to Jason McIntyre's point, again, I think he's angry, and this isn't a big picture. This is just anger in the moment of, this damn league has moved away from me. It's a jump shooting league, and it favors jump shooters. And to your point, he's moved out and tried to do what everybody else is doing, shoot jump shots, but that's not really his game.
No.
And so it's like, where's the NBA that I was the most dominant force in? It's gone away from me. The referees favor the jump shooter, things that aren't my strength. And so he's angry and frustrated about that. And again, everybody loves the no hand check NBA, the no physical play NBA.
I hate it.
And they've made it for the little guys and for the soft guys and not the brutes like LeBron James.
It's a finesse
Isn't there a
league.
parallel to the NFL, right? The NFL protects its quarterbacks, and now they throw way too many pass interference flags on the defense because they want offense. Offense fills stadiums, gets people watching TV.
Where your point falls apart, though, is LeBron James is the show. He sells the most tickets,
but
not Steph Curry.
Couldn't I make this argument, though?
Yeah.
When you are Brady and LeBron, and you do last a decade and a half, the league does change. I mean, Tom Brady broke into this league. They had huddles, and they threw it deep.
The NFL bent towards Brady. This league is not bending towards LeBron.
No, you're right.
But they didn't bend towards Steph either. Steph came and took it. Steph came and took
No,
it.
he
He
did.
came and took it.
There's no question.
LeBron wasn't expecting
but
that.
But LeBron and Brady, there's some similarities. That the NFL rules move toward Tom. It is very much a skinny jeans league.
And let's not sell the Warriors short, guys. I mean, merchandise, TV ratings, Steph Curry, two-time MVP.
Oh, yeah.
This is one of the most popular, transformational player in the NBA, without question.
From being great.
And I think the fans show up at 30 minutes before the game, an hour before the game, to watch his pregame warm-ups because he's so popular. The league loves the Warriors.
Welcome back. We're now joined by Hall of Famer Eric Dickerson and former Pro Bowler T.J. Houshmandzadeh, who I covered in college. You were really good.
You're really old.
Let's move to the National Football League, where according to the New York Times, oh boy, Roger Goodell is expected to fine Jerry Jones millions of dollars in an effort to recoup legal expenses that the NFL incurred defending itself from Jerry's legal challenges to the suspension of Ezekiel Elliott, as well as his threatened lawsuit to stop the compensation committee from giving Goodell a contract extension. Whitlock, good idea by the league and Goodell?
I don't think so. I'm going to have to take some time tonight to marinate on this and acquire some more information. But I thought we were moving away from war and trying to move forward in football and start tweaking and fixing the game to make sure that this little bit of slide in TV ratings is stopped. I don't get this. Now, I understand, look, Jerry Jones is the modern Al Davis.
Yeah.
And there's a history. Pete Rozelle feuded with Al Davis, and so maybe Jerry Jones is the new Al Davis, and he's going to feud with Roger Goodell until he's out of the NFL. But to me, I wouldn't be doing this. I would try to let that thing be in the past and keep it moving forward. But, again, I need some more time to think.
Who is Roger Goodell's boss? Owners.
Yeah.
I think a lot of the owners are pushing Goodell to find Jerry because they're looking at some of these costs incurred, and some of those owners are like, time out. It's coming out of our pocket. So I believe
Those
this
are some of the deepest pockets.
I know, but hey, you know who likes free stuff? The richer the people, the more free stuff they want. I think the owners are saying, time out. Jerry was bad press for 6 weeks, and now we have to pick up all the legal bills. Roger, stick it to him. I think this is coming from other owners that maybe harbor a little bit of resentment and jealousy.
Petty.
Absolutely, that's fair to say.
Think of the big picture, in my opinion.
This is like bad kids, a bunch of bad kids. Like, I got my suck over here, and he got a ball. I want that ball over there. I mean, look, let it go. I mean, the NFL is doing well. It didn't do great last season, but I feel like with this is like already a black eye. I've gotten this letter before. Detriment to the team, detriment to the league. That's never a good look. I mean, as an owner, the owner is making $50 million a year. He's got a free jet for life. He's got the commissioner. He's got health insurance for life. What's the problem? I could say, move on, get over it. What did it cost him? Couple $100,000 for this lawsuit?
No, I'm sure it costs him
It can't be about money.
It can't be about money, right?
When Goodell signs a 5-year, $200 million contract, he making more than every player in the league. It can't be about money. It's about control and power. And for me, the NFL needs to take a page out of the NBA's playbook. Everything gets along. Their culture, the players, they all get along. It's a great team sport. For this is above our heads right here. You got $1 billion guy saying sue the other $1 billion guy because we don't like what he did. What he defended Ezekiel Elliott, so now it's a problem. He's defending his players. What's wrong with an owner standing up for his players? He's not supposed to do that?
And what I'm fearful of, or what I would be fearful of if I were the league, they're going to make Jerry Jones a sympathetic figure. Because, again, I think it goes to TJ's point. If he's being fined because he was too vigorous in his defense of Ezekiel Elliott, that won't play real well with the players. Jerry Jones's defense of Ezekiel Elliott in the players' mind, and in maybe some objective people's mind, was something to be applauded. And if this is any part of why he's being fined, I think the ownership that is pushing Roger Goodell to do this could backfire on them and make Jerry a sympathetic figure.
Could I make the argument, who are the two people Goodell's been toughest on? The Patriots and the Cowboys. This is coming from the other owners. There is resentment among the other owners. And by the way, Jerry's not the only guy that pays Roger Goodell. Robert Kraft isn't. This feels like Roger's feeling heat, saying, the Patriots are in the Super Bowl again.
Rich man.
Look at those footballs. Jerry gets more pub than everybody. He sues, so we have to pay all his bills. This feels, again, you're going to marinate on this tonight.
Yeah.
This feels like a bunch of owners resenting Kraft. Kraft's now a rock star. Jerry's a rock star in America. This sounds like, to your point, jealous billionaires of those two owners.
Jerry's already in the Hall of Fame, and I could see some other NFL owners say, why Jerry? He's caused all these problems. And I can see a lot of other NFL owners. We in the media have celebrated Al Davis. We don't know how his peers all really felt about Al Davis. He was a bit eccentric and maybe crazy, and maybe they thought Al Davis ran the Raiders in a way and caused the NFL problems that they felt wasn't beneficial to everybody in the league. And so you're right. I do think this is stemming from other NFL owners. And again, maybe we're not going to have a modern-day Al Davis. Or, at least we're going to go to war with the modern-day Al Davis the way Pete Rozelle stood up to Al Davis. All right, welcome back. Eric Dickerson and Steven Jackson are back. Let's move to college basketball, which is in turmoil these days amid an FBI investigation into allegations of payouts to top recruits. It was reported Friday that Arizona coach Sean Miller had been caught on a wiretap discussing a $100,000 payment to land the team's star freshman, DeAndre Ayton. Now an NBA coach, Stan Van Gundy, has weighed in with some strong words about the NCAA's one-and-done rule.
The people that were against them coming out made a lot of excuses, but I think a lot of it was racist, quite honestly. And the reason I'm going to say that is I've never heard anybody like go up in arms about, oh my God, they're letting these kids come out and go play minor league baseball, or they're letting these kids come out and go play minor league hockey. They're not making big money. The NCAA is one of the worst organizations, maybe the worst organization in sports. And they certainly don't care about the athletes.
It's one of the greatest comments I've ever heard from a coach. There's been a lot of coaches, Steve Kerr and Greg Popovich, virtue signaling and standing for the alleged right things. But Stan Van Gundy here calling this NCAA system racist is 1,000% accurate. Walter Byers is the modern-day founder of the NCAA. He was a conservative white man from Kansas. He built the NCAA system. In his farewell book, in his memoir, he called the NCAA amateurism system, he analogized it to slavery. Walter Byers, a white conservative man from Kansas who helped create the NCAA, called the system slavery. And again, so this isn't even up for debate. The people that came up with the system have told you what it is, and we want to live in denial of it and somehow protect this system. I said it on TV on Saturday, and people were upset with me. Sean Miller is a hero to me. This man figured out a way to reward someone who allegedly brought value to the University of Arizona. I respect him. I don't respect the coaches that respect these rules that Walter Byers and anybody else with a modicum of intelligence knows is exploitive of the guys that bring real value to those universities. That money needs to be shared with them. Stan Van Gundy, love you to death.
You ever been part of a union?
No.
Okay, I have.
Yeah, I have. But
You have?
Yeah, I have.
Okay.
Yeah.
Who does a union punish? The most talented. Because the union's really built for the masses. But if you're at a newspaper union and you're one of two writers who are really New York Times level, it's not rewarding you. It's rewarding the Metro beat reporter. Nobody who's great is inspired by a union. The weakest are protected by it. I don't like the one and done. I think you should be able to go to the pros. But let's remember how many people it affects. 12 a year. After the 18th pick, nobody really makes and sticks in the NBA. Of those 18 players, 6 are now international. About 12 domestic players stick in the NBA. Okay, they're hurt by the one and done. That doesn't comprise one roster in college basketball. There's 359 Division I programs. The one and done has no effect on 99% of kids who have no chance to play pro sports. Forget first round pick in the NBA, which is the greatest athletes in the world, in my opinion. I hate the one and done. I think a hockey player, a tennis player, a golfer, and certainly a basketball player should be able to go right in. But the NCAA was not comprised to protect the super prodigy. He's going to be fine. People are going to bid on the prodigy and seek the prodigy and corral the prodigy and teach him and want him. The NCAA is built to protect the gymnast.
According to Walter Byers, who invented the NCAA, it's akin to slavery and a plantation. I'm going to go with his word. And I get that, hey, maybe only 12 guys can go to the NBA or whatever. But when you are generating the money, whether you're going to the NBA or not, but you're playing on the basketball team and people are buying tickets and buying your jersey and coming to see you play, and all the money's going to the coaches and to the administrators and to the gymnasts and to the softball players, what I call the welfare sports. People call them Olympic sports, but they're living off the benefits provided by football and basketball. That's who's paying the freight for everybody. And so they're welfare sports, and they're getting rewards that they haven't earned. And so that's not what America's about. And so this system is wrong, and as long as they don't address this issue, there will always be corruption. You can't build something integrity off of exploitation. Can't be done.
Well, but by the way, there's corruption in the Olympics and FIFA. There's corruption everywhere. Baseball had steroids. NCAA is not the only place with corruption. Yeah, it's everywhere. Our government's got corruption.
I'll say to the NCAA, though, who are you to tell me what I'm worth? When I turn 18, I should be able to apply for any job that I feel like I could get. If some agent's telling me at 18 that I can make millions of dollars, why I can't go make that money? That's the question. But I can go blow my head off at 18 and go fight for something that I don't believe in at 18. It's just not right. I feel like when they stopped going out of high school, the percentage of young black males getting a chance for the NBA definitely dropped. Because why do we have to go to college to fake for a year to act like we here to learn? We want to play basketball. I don't want to go to college and fake like I'm here to get an education. This is going to change my life. And I see what it's done for my life so far, so I'm taking this serious. I don't want to have to go to college and fake it for a year for your benefit. I'm not benefiting from it. So it's all BS, man.
You could have gone G League, international, or hired an agent.
G League is worse than being overseas. You know, the travel in the G League is not A1.
But it's 9 months.
The money's not A1.
Well, no, it's not A1, but
it's not 100,000 either.
This interstate doesn't have just one exit. You don't have to play college basketball. You could go international. You could hire an agent who, for about a year.
And you can go to the NBA, too.
You
can go to the NBA, too.
A lot of these kids that play basketball, football, baseball, whatever, I'll say basketball and football, you want to get out of your situation. 9 times out of 10, that kid is the kid that's going to change mom's life, or grandma's life. And to make them go to college for that 1 year, something could happen. He could get hurt. Anything could happen. So why all of a sudden does he need to go to college? Why? We know that the final end game is the NBA. Let him go right now. Let's just not even mess around with it. And you're right. I always say, you know, they don't like the word slavery because it's not chains and whips, but it is a form of slavery. It really is. It's like, who's really making money off of this? The guys at the top. Let me ask you a question. All right, who's the head of the NCAA?
Mark Emmert.
Who's the vice president?
I don't know.
Right. I tell you, you know Mark Emmert's name. I bet you no one else out there probably know. They don't know who Mark Emmert, but they know who the number 1 player is going to be. Right. They know who the basketball player is going to be. The number 1 high school football player is going to be. A college football. They know those guys. That's why the problem comes in. You got these white guys at the top that's running everything, and down below them, and it is what it is. It's a lot of the black athletes and white athletes too. They're working off their back.
Very few people I've ever met love one and done. I don't think but it should be noted, that's an NBA rule. College basketball didn't create one and done. The NBA did because they didn't want their GMs in gyms.
They made that rule because they got tired of all these young blackers coming in there with all these chains.
No, time out.
Right, yeah, that's why they made the rule.
The NBA.
They got tired of us showing them and being successful, coming in there with chains and living our lives.
The NBA
that's what
made
it was.
the rule.
That's why they made that rule.
I think they made the rule to improve the NBA, though. There was a lot of 18-year-olds coming in.
It had a lot to do with us.
They weren't ready, though. And so guys making a mistake weren't ready. You don't have a chance to properly scout them and evaluate them. They did it to improve the NBA. And that's why I think the NBA needs to be a part of the solution in terms of compensating Ayton and hell, 100, 200 of the top prospects while they're in college. Let the NBA, let the television networks, let the shoe companies compensate these guys for being in college. I'm talking about real money. And let them develop, and let's grow the game of college basketball back to what it was and what it used to be while paying the 100 or 200 of them that are NBA prospects. I think that's better for the NBA. It's better for me as a broadcaster.
By the way,
as a TV network, the healthier college basketball is, I think the healthier basketball
is. Now, that I agree with totally. I always feel like the NBA and college basketball.
They don't get along.
But I feel like.
That's David Stern.
Kobe Bryant
who the
came out of
media
high school.
Jermaine
O'Neal came out of high school.
I get
Tracy
it.
McGrady came out of high school.
LeBron
James came
James.
out of high school. LeBron James.
But.
College or not, it has no effect. What it is they trying to take control over what you do, point blank. They want control. That's what it is.
It's about the control.
It's about
the control. That's what it is, control.
Again, though, if I'm an NBA player, I want the NBA to reach its full potential. The more money the NBA generates, the more money they can pay the players.
No question.
And if college basketball were healthier, the NBA would be better. That's one of the great things the NFL has going for it.
Huge.
College football is healthy
think
and
about this.
good.
Tim Tebow and Reggie Bush
Yes.
literally came out of college football and led the NFL in jersey sales.
That's football.
That's
Two of the top 3 players of all time came out of high school. Kobe and LeBron James, point blank.
But there are exceptions. You can't build a system for LeBron.
Football and
Lot of
basketball
guys.
is totally.
Lot of guys.
But Stephen, you would concede.
Lou
that-
Williams.
Listen, you
keep
would.
going on.
I get you would concede though. LeBron James and Kobe Bryant, had they gone to college for a year or 4 years, they were still going to be two of the greatest all-time great players of all time. If we could compensate them for
Can't
the
say
time.
that.
You can't-
Because they could easily went to college and got
got
hurt.
hurt. That's what I
Anything
said.
could have
How many,
happened.
how many guys that happened to?
Any-
Name me 5 guys
Name 2.
that were all-time greats. Did it happen to Patrick Ewing? Did it happen to Ralph Sampson? Did it happen to Kareem Abdul-Jabbar?
How good Greg Oden could have been.
Yeah, Greg Oden was falling apart in ninth grade.
Well, I'm saying he got hurt early.
Oh,
He still made his
that
money,
was in the
though.
NBA.
I'm just saying anything could have happened.
He got hurt
Anything
in
could
the
have happened
NBA.
He
in
got
college.
hurt in the NBA, Steve.
Anything could have happened in college.
Welcome back, Eric Dickerson and P.J. Hushmanzada. They're back. Let's move to Kansas City, where reportedly the Chiefs have agreed to trade star cornerback Marcus Peters and a 6th-round pick to the Rams for a 4th-rounder this year and a 2nd-rounder next year. That's it? Peters been very productive since coming into the league, but proved to be a little bit of a headache this season, even getting suspended for 1 game by Andy Reid after throwing a tantrum against the Jets. Nevertheless, he expressed his gratitude to Kansas City. He said, listen, Instagram, the fame don't make the name, and the name don't make it a game. KC, thank you. Whitlock, the Rams will not have to deal with Marcus Peters. Is he worth the, quote, headache?
Thrown out of college, now thrown off an NFL team. Oh, I'm shocked. Marcus Peters is a terrific player on Sundays most of the time. He is a headache Monday through Saturday all the time. And so as a Chiefs fan, I am thrilled that they got rid of him. He'll be LA's headache. He'll be our headache out here in LA moving forward. I applaud Andy Reid and the Chiefs organization for doing this.
I applaud the Rams for understanding what they are. In Los Angeles, a very distracted sports market. Okay, there's a lot to do here. You got the Dodgers and USC and UCLA, and you got the Lakers. It's a win now. They're building the stadium. That's why last year they went all in on a left tackle and a center and wide receivers. You got to win now. Marcus Peters is our Dion. He is unbelievable. In a league where people don't throw over the middle, he'll give you an interception every other game.
He ain't Dion.
He's a star.
He's good.
He is a star player. By the way, I'm not marrying him. This isn't marinating for 20 years. I get the best pure corner for 2 years in a distracted sports market. You know what this is about? This is about Garoppolo and Russell Wilson and the Rams' schedule, which is tougher. It's a first-place schedule. They're going to have to face all sorts of good quarterbacks like Carson Wentz. That's what that's about. I love it.
Me too. Marcus Peters just finished his 3rd year in the league, 19 picks. He's a ball hog. He's going to get the offense the ball. Does he have problems? Yeah, he has problems. But when you grow up in a low-income, you don't do well with authority early on. And I see, like, if you're going to yell at me, I'm yelling back. But that's a problem. I'm a man. You respect me, I'm going to respect you back. And I think that was his problem is when you go to college and you got coaches that want to yell and disrespect you, some kids take that. He wasn't taking that. And he went to Kansas City. He played well. He had some problems off the field and with coaches. Me, you don't get this guy up. Not Kansas City. When you're trying to get where you're going, the Rams, they got to play San Francisco twice. They have to play Seattle twice. They got to play Arizona twice. You don't know who their quarterback's going to.
And a first-place schedule.
This is a big pickup for them. I'm taking it.
Good luck. Eric's going to be on the security team.
You're not going to say good luck once it's, hey.
Good luck, Eric.
Yeah.
Babysitting Marcus.
Man, I'm gonna tell you, I'm with you. I'm with both of you. I think it's a good deal, really. I think it's something that we need. Our defense did not play as well last year, especially in the secondary.
That's right.
We have Wade Phillips. I think knows how to coach. You got.
Can I interrupt real quick?
Yeah.
Wade Phillips had a key to leave, and he gave him no problems. Marcus Peters is going to be fine. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah. I mean, he has Wade Phillips as a defensive coordinator. We've got a young head coach. The players love him. I mean, he's back home, back in L.A. He's from Oakland, but he's in Los Angeles, back in California. I mean, I think it's a good pick. And we have you got Aaron Donald, Ogletree say, hey, look, man, you can't do that here. We're not having that.
This is a very good point.
Yeah.
This Rams locker room is a really good locker room.
And tight. Very tight.
Nobody's messing around with Aaron Donald. He's the best player in the league. The stars in this locker room.
It's going to be incredible. He won't be a problem at all. You're right. I mean, the stars in that locker room. Kansas City, he didn't have anybody in their locker room. Marcus Peters was a headache in college and got booted out of college. Here he is in Kansas City, one of the most productive players getting booted out. We know what Marcus Peters is. On Sundays, he's going to make a lot of plays. The rest of the week, he'll be a problem. Remember Hillary Clinton used to talk about who's the 3 a.m. phone call? That's for Sean McVay. And your beeper, they're going to have a beeper. Eric, we need you.
I'm on my way. I'm on my way.
Marcus Peters is a problem child. You don't give up on someone this talented unless they're a major problem.
If he gets you 6 or 7 picks, you'll take it.
Hey, I'm telling you.
A lot of people told me you were difficult to work with. Some days I have to just suck it up and play along. Some people are high maintenance. You just learn to deal with it.
All right, let's move to Jacksonville, where the Jaguars signed Blake Bortles to a 3-year, $54 million contract extension over the weekend. The move surprised a lot of people who thought they might explore other options in free agency after Bortles put together another uneven season. Cowherd, was re-signing Bortles a mistake?
Yep. So I'm going to give you 4 quarterbacks to draft. Andrew Luck, Deshaun Watson, Marcus Mariota, and Bortles. Who's your 4th pick? Ooh, last year last year was perfect. Andrew Luck got hurt and didn't play. Deshaun Watson got hurt. Mariota had the worst offensive staff in the league. You barely beat Buffalo at home. You went 10 wins. Your division was in the complete and utter tank. And oh, by the way, your schedule was allowed. Remember, you were terrible. Now, all of a sudden, you got a playoff schedule this year. Andrew Luck's back. Deshaun Watson's back. Mariota finally has an elite offensive staff. I'm sorry, but you just signed a long-term deal with a lot of guaranteed money to the 4th best quarterback in that league.
In that division.
In that division.
Let me ask you something, though, because I tend to agree with you, but what should they have done?
That was going to be my question.
And so, again, to me, I would have, Case Keenum's now on the market, I would have gone for a Case Keenum over a Blake Bortles. Okay. But I
would have gone for Case Keenum. I do believe that Kirk Cousins.
Too expensive, I think, in their mind.
Okay, but I do think what I'm hearing and reading is Kirk isn't looking to make $35 million. He is willing to take less if he can go to a Jacksonville or a Denver. Listen, man, Marcus Mariota has really been carrying a dismal offensive team. He finally got an elite Oregon offensive coordinator he's worked with. Luck's back. Deshaun's back. I'm sorry, but everything last year, to be a franchise quarterback is not just winning games. Mark Sanchez won a lot of games. RG3 and Tebow won games. It's can you overcome when everything doesn't go right? Last year, everything for Jacksonville was perfect. All the other star quarterbacks had bad coaches or got hurt. That division next year is arguably going to be second best division in football. And Bortles is your guy?
When you look at it, it's almost the way the quarterback market is, it's actually not a bad deal. It's really, is Blake Bortles, it's sad when, Blake Bortles, I'm not talking about you, I'm just talking about how you play. It's sad when you can play this bad and get this type of deal. This is where the market is. If you look at, he's not making a lot of money comparable to the other quarterbacks in the NFL. He's really, A.J. McCarron has started very few games. He's going to make more money than Blake Bortles. He's not making a lot of money. On average, $18 million a year. That's not a lot when you look at the quarterbacks of Jimmy G.
Osweiler money. Mm-hmm.
He's not making a lot of money, but you look at it and say, the defense carried them. And now we're going to go ahead and get this money to him for being a quarterback.
Andy Dalton is what they've done. They settled for Andy Dalton.
He's not. Andy Dalton. Andy Dalton is way better than Blake Bortles. There's no comparison.
I think Dalton's better than Bortles.
No contest. Not even close.
Honestly, I would say I think it's kind of close. You know? I think it's kind of close. Look, this team, Tom Coughlin run this football team. What did he do in New York? He took Eli and a great defense. Eli's not great now, don't get me wrong, and took a great defense. That's what they have in Jacksonville, defense. Jalen Ramsey, young defensive back, a young defense. We'll take the quarterback, just like they did. Tampa did with Brad Johnson. Brad Johnson. We got the defense. We'll take an okay quarterback. He's our guy. We know what he's capable of. We know his ceiling. If I bring in a Kirk Cousins, he's got to start all over. You know, we bring in Case Keenum. He doesn't know the offense. He's got to learn it. We know what we got here. We know what we're working with. I would say, like you just said, for the money they paid him, I think it's a good deal.
No, I would have, based on that last game where, to me, there was opportunities to run the ball. That was just the final straw for me with Blake Bortles. I would have moved on. I would have tried to get a Case Keenum. I would have flirted with Kirk Cousins. I would, but again, for $18 million a year,
not bad.
in this,
he'll be there 2 years and he'll be gone.
Yes, if he can't. And
I think you have to draft a quarterback. They don't have a lot of needs.
I would draft a quarterback. But again, the whole issue I have with the whole deal is if I'm Jacksonville as close as I can, I would be win now mode.
Yes.
Exactly.
And that's what I don't like about this
You
decision.
could win now. Kirk Cousins in this roster.
I'm gonna give you the guy I would have go after. I'd go after Nick Foles. I would have gone after Nick Foles.
They give him up right now.
The two things you've been high on are this new Cavs roster and Nick Foles. You're 0 for 1 on 1.
Nick Foles won a Super Bowl. All right, welcome back. Time for last call. Let's move to Zaza Pachulia, who reportedly will not be punished for falling on Russell Westbrook last night, even though Russ claimed Pachulia was deliberately trying to hurt him. Cowherd, was that play dirty or not?
Oh, come on. He's a clumsy 7-footer. We romanticize the 80s NBA where guys were getting clotheslined. This is outrageous? Really?
It's nothing. And, you know, the Thunder and Russell Westbrook need to spend their time worrying about qualifying for the playoffs.
Thank you.
The Big Three in OKC
It ain't working.
is one of the biggest disasters. We love to talk about the new-look Cavaliers.
They're a half game out of 8.
Yes. I would worry about that, not where Zaza falls. All right, let's move to Tiger Woods, who shot even par on Sunday to finish a very respectable 12th at the Honda Classic, his best finish in a PGA tournament since 2015. Cowherd, is it okay for me to be excited about Tiger Woods?
I mean, if 12th place at the Honda Classic moves the needle for you.
There were 141 golfers, some of the biggest names in golf. The course was brutal. If Tiger had played the bear trap well, he damn near would have won. There's a little stretch of golf.
The course was brutal?
It was brutal. Yes, it was hard. It was a very difficult course. Not a lot of guys under par.
Excuse me, is that Scotland? What is that?
There was the wind conditions and the course were very tough. Tiger played it. It was very inspiring. The Masters is now in play.
Can you just acknowledge that Tiger moved you at some point emotionally?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Without question.
Those days are over.
No. He moved me this weekend, and I watched this weekend's 12th place finish. It's not over, and the man has a chance to be very competitive at the Masters this year.
This is the Honda Classic.
It was a the top players in the world were there, and he finished 12th. What more could he have done?
Finished second. Won it.
It's not over.
Scotland. God, he was in Scotland this weekend.
Welcome to the show. I'm Jason Whitlock, and I'll tell you why the Cavaliers fans should be outraged by what LeBron just said.
And I'm Colin Cowherd, and I'll tell you why all these NBA stars need to stop complaining about the officials. Speak for Yourself starts now on a Tuesday. I'm going tonight to wrestling.
Oh, I love that. I used to love wrestling.
Pro wrestling for me tonight.
Hello and welcome.
Pro wrestling.
We're joined today by an NBA champion, Steven Jackson, and longtime NBA player Ryan Hollins. Let's start with college basketball, which has been rocked this week by allegations of corruption, prompting countless ideas about how to fix the NCAA. Jalen Rose caused a stir yesterday by suggesting the players should boycott the NCAA tournament, but he was outdone today by LeBron James, who thinks the system is already too far gone.
I don't know if there's any fixing the NCAA. I don't think it is. I think it's what's been going on for many years. I don't know how you can fix it. I don't see how you can fix it. Obviously, I've never been a part of it, so I don't know all the ins and outs about it. I don't know all the rules and regulations about it. But I do know what five-star athletes bring to a campus, both in basketball and football. I know how much these college coaches get paid. I know how much these colleges are gaining off these kids. NCAA is corrupt. We know that. I'm sorry. It's going to make headlines, but it's corrupt.
All right, Cowherd, do you agree with LeBron? I certainly do.
I do not. The NCAA stinks if you're a basketball prodigy, which there's about 5 a year. There's 369 Division I programs. There's 12 guys a year that'll make the NBA out of the draft on average. 6 of them are European, so 18 total. If you're a basketball prodigy, it stinks. Because, you're great. But you know who's not? The other 4,500 kids on campus. This system is not built for Alabama's running backs or Kansas's power forwards.
Got it.
It's built for a tennis player at the University of Oregon.
It's not built for the kids that generate the money and pay the bills. It's not built for them. It's built for all the kids who look nothing like the guys that are generating most of the money. And that's why LeBron James has a problem. That's why Steven Jackson has a problem.
Right.
That's why, and again, I was no prodigy. I was a mediocre Mid-American Conference football player. But it's why I have a problem. Because it needs to be fair for the people that generate the money and are footing the bills for the softball team and the wrestling team and everybody else to live like they're basketball players generating the money. And they're not.
And they have to stay on campus for a whole 9 months until they become millionaires. By the way, all these basketball prodigies, 9 months. How terrible. For 9 months, we'll take care of you. And then we'll, by the way, promote you, and then you'll become a millionaire. It's not the world's worst life.
Look, you're missing the fact that there's a lot of football players that are ready for the NFL after their freshman or sophomore year, that are also fronting and paying the bills and generating the revenue, and it's not fair to them either. And so there's a lot of guys. Look, you think Eric Dickerson wasn't ready to be an NFL player at 19, 20 years old?
But if I'm Florida and I have 85 division players on scholarship, I'm just taking University of Florida. I could take Clemson. I could take anybody. About 7 kids a year get arrested or get in trouble. I have to pay for those too. I have to pay for the attorney as the school. I got to pay for the PR people. Schools pay all the bills. Well, there are as many. Just think about how great Alabama football is. Every year they get 25 new players. 5 guys a class deliver. 6 get hurt, 2 flunk out, 2 are bad guys.
Your product.
But my point is, this system, which everybody hates, it's not built for LeBron. He's like an alien. He's an outlier. It's not built for somebody as talented as you guys. It's not built for Westbrook, Paul Pierce.
It should be.
Well, you're looking for, just sometimes when you're 19 years old, you aren't paid what you should be paid. And I understand the complaint from the prodigies.
For you to say.
Colin, is so much bigger than that, though. Because even if you don't end up being a professional athlete, there are those Ed O'Bannons. There are the guys that make so much money for the university that are great college players. Right. Whatever particular university you went to, if it's a UCLA, if it's Ohio State, if it's Duke, yes, I want to go to school there for the education, but I want to be a part of that basketball experience. I want to be a part of that football experience. And to say that once these guys are done, all they have is their education, I'm going to go on record and say some of these guys are dumb as a doorknob. And they have no place in college other than to go get buckets or to score touchdowns or do something. Now, I, on the other hand, was a guy who took advantage of my degree, have a history degree from UCLA, got the most out of it. It's not for everybody. Right. And it doesn't stop these coaches from recruiting them because it knows it's paychecks, it's money that they can make. And what it's made, Colin, is a nasty, disgusting system in which guys have to hide the money in which they get paid, in which those agents work under the table, in which these AAU teams and these shoe companies get these players before they become pros. I don't want to throw away all the other sports, as we talked about. I think there's a form of revenue sharing. There are many different ways you can dissect to jump into this, but you have to start somewhere. And Sean Miller right now is this guy at Arizona that's just paid DeAndre $100,000, which is just so unheard of. I wish you'd go after the big fish. Name them all. Name UCLA, name Duke, name Ohio State, name Kentucky, all these athletes, and blow this thing over and make the NCAA have to make a change. I don't know how Sean Miller's default when the NCAA knows, because I'm sure they have phone records and understanding of what's going on. So I just don't buy it. Something has to change.
Me not going to college, I just look at it as a lot of these five-star players that they're making all this money off of, they need this money now. They need money now so as they come out of high school. And providing for their family, it's a sense of urgency to them, not the college.
Yeah.
So that's why I feel they definitely need to be compensated some kind of way, because they're used to taking care of, we're used to providing for our families. Even in high school as young men, you know, a lot of us come from homes where our father's not there. So we take on that burden of being the father and the protector and provider for that home in high school. So leaving that home and going to another state, it's more pressure on you to provide for that home. So you definitely have to make some kind of income to provide for yourself and for your home. And that's a lot of stress that come on those guys. That's why they need to get paid coming out of high school.
Listen, the NCAA's got its issues. I have no problem with players getting paid. I think the way to solve it would be, and it wouldn't solve your problem, but you know, if you're Reggie Bush and there's a way to say, okay, digitally, sports purchasing, he made us $2.8 million. When he's done, cut him a check. Now, it doesn't solve your problem for immediate money, but I'm for the digital rights. But let me just throw this at you, is that when you look at this entire thing, March Madness is going to have sold out arenas. Most people can't name 4 players. Kansas sells out every game, regardless of individual players. Some of this is traditional, and
there's no question. But it was built off the backs of Kareem Abdul-Jabbar and the people before that. But Colin, college basketball is underachieving right now. It's not as relevant as it used to be. And again, I wish that LeBron James, Adam Silver, Mark Emmert, if these guys understood that having a healthy college basketball is actually good for the NBA.
I agree.
And if the NBA should be an active participant in compensating these guys while they're on campus, because it's good for them if guys build a brand in college and bring that to the NBA. That's better for the NBA. There is a solution here. People just have to be creative. If we can put a man on the moon, we can figure out the NCAA.
By the way, but just to show you what a punching bag the NCAA has been, Stan Van Gundy yesterday came out and said the NCAA is racist for not letting kids play. That's an NBA rule. The one and done is an NBA rule.
He misspoke, but he's right about the NCAA amateurism system.
Okay.
He misspoke.
Okay, but in fairness, he was ripping the NCAA. The NBA
You got to take
created
his
that.
comments in totality. He basically is saying the NCAA system of amateurism is unfair to a significant portion of these African-American athletes. This is the Speak for Yourself podcast, and I'm Jason Whitlock. Before the show moves along, I wanted to tell you today's show is brought to you by Buffalo Wild Wings. It's that time again, that familiar crossroads of choosing between basketball and hockey. You can't choose, they're both on. Why are they both on? Relax. We have a solution. Buffalo Wild Wings. Rather than fill your living room with TVs, coming to B-dubs, we've got hockey and basketball on, each playing on dozens of screens so that you don't have to choose. And to complete the trifecta, we can ensure you have access to all the sports, foods you crave. From our selection of America's favorite wings and any of our 21 signature sauces and seasonings to shareable favorites like cheddar cheese curds and fried pickles, you'll have everything you've ever wanted. But wait! We also have a variety of beers to quench your thirst. All the basketball, all the hockey, all the food, and the beer you want. Buffalo Wild Wings. Wings, beer, sports. Please drink responsibly. Now back to the show.
Let's talk NBA. Yesterday, some entertaining and enterprising 76ers fans paid for some billboards to try and convince LeBron to come play for their team in Philly. Well, today LeBron was asked if he was flattered by the recruiting ploy, and his answer might not make Cavs fans very happy.
Absolutely. I mean, you could say it's it's a distraction. No, it's not. Not a distraction. It's actually very flattering that I'm sitting here at 33 in my 15th year and teams or guys. I don't say teams because, that becomes tampering. But people in their respective city want me to play for them. I mean, that's cool. I think that's dope.
How'd you hear about it?
How did I hear about it?
Did you see it?
No, I haven't seen it. I heard about it before. I didn't talk to y'all yesterday, but I seen it before that just in case I saw y'all.
All right, Whitlock, should the Cavs be bothered by it?
Yeah, actually, LeBron says some great things, then some things I disagree with. I don't think this is the right thing to be saying at this time. Let's just go back to February when there was a rumor about LeBron James and the Golden State Warriors. Listen to what LeBron said just a month ago about the rumors about him and the Golden State Warriors.
For the rest of the season, don't ask me about nothing else, no other team, unless we're competing against them the next night, or you want to ask me about a highlight that happened the night before. Don't ask me about being on a team, on another team, because it's unfair to my teammates here, my 14 teammates that we come and work hard for, the coaching staff and this fan base.
So here he is just 3 weeks ago, don't talk about this. To me, is an indication, has he given up on his new team already? And now that he's given up, it's okay to talk about other cities, Philadelphia, Golden State, whatever. Just 2 or 3 weeks ago, hell, and it's still February, our shortest month, but it's still February, he was saying, don't bring this up to me.
There you go, finding an old clip to ruin my argument. That was pretty good, I gotta be honest with you. I will say this, he's a really smart guy. I don't think he's gonna be swayed by billboards. LeBron's a real smart guy. But that's pretty good evidence. That was forensic files right there.
He's given up on his current team.
I'm not gonna lie.
I think he should be flattered, anytime you want it in any job.
Of course.
How should his Cavaliers
But,
teammates feel?
Well, I don't think that should be worried, because this is why I say that. You have a better life and you are happier when you worry about the things you can't control. They can't control if LeBron going to be there or not. Don't even worry about it. You can't do nothing about it. If they want to put billboards around the whole United States, come play on my team, so what? You have no control. Worry about the team you got now. You can't control where he's going to be there or not.
Hey,
anyway.
fellas, you got to understand, we live in a different day and age of transparency,
right,
where players can speak out. Players have voices. You can be yourself.
Was he speaking out 3 weeks ago?
He was, and he
And
made
now
a
he's
choice. He
flip-flop?
made a choice to make a statement for his team going into the trade deadline in amidst chaos. That chaos has died down now, so he can speak out and he can be himself. You could say this before. You didn't see Jordan go out and do this. You didn't see Kobe. You didn't see Magic. Those guys didn't speak about other teams. But now we have the freedom to be ourselves, in which it's not always wrong. You're just getting what LeBron is really thinking in today and age of Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, all this.
If you were on the Cavaliers team, how would you feel about him?
I wouldn't mind. I would say he's being upfront, and I would know darn well that there's a realistic chance that LeBron could leave, and he's being upfront. Do I want to hear about that now? Not necessarily, but there's no way I'll blow it out of proportion.
For years and years, all these pro athletes get traded and have no control.
Shaq got traded.
Okay. But now that a player, an NBA player, is like, yeah, man, I'm kind of maybe initiating the trade. We don't like it. LeBron James can talk about moving. By the way, the GMs.
Here's what I don't like about it, Colin. I would not be giving up on this current collection of Cavaliers players. It's too early. Keep a single focus, making the most of this situation, because, again, it's like control what you can control today.
Okay, let me ask you this.
He ain't going nowhere today.
Right.
Whenever you see in newspapers or blogs stories about trades, do you know how those get there? General managers leaking them.
You know,
so why can GMs talk about that?
The trade deadline's passed, Colin. The only thing he can accomplish the rest of this year is to win with this group of players.
Or lose with this group of players.
So why not focus on that?
I think that comment means he's not focusing. He was asked a question in a presser.
3 weeks ago, he was all in and don't bring up nothing about any other team unless we're playing them. It wouldn't be, his words, wouldn't be fair to these teammates. That's what he said then.
Yeah, but those guys are all out of town now.
And so now this new group, we can be unfair to them. He ain't got to be all in with them.
It was a pretty good case by you. You brought some old tape in, and so you feel good about yourself.
Do we have tape of Jordan ever doing this? Bailing on the team?
To Ryan's point, it's a different
We don't
world.
have a tape of it. We don't have tape of Jordan
Back
bailing
then,
on the
if you
curtain.
did that, it was disloyal. We live in a new world where players have smartened up and have power now.
We know he doesn't have to be all in. He's not all in, all right? It is safe to say, if they don't win it, nobody's going to lose their mind if the Cavaliers don't win a championship.
By the way, his
this year.
contract's like a year. He tells you with his contract, I'm not all in. He's on. LeBron's totally honest. Make my team better or I'm
this
leaving.
is a good thing. He's not all in. He's given up. He's conceded the title to Golden State. This is a positive. I mean,
But he's still I would
focused.
argue,
He's
but
still
is he not the guy that's performed, fellas?
Yes.
He's performed amongst, we could say, the nonsense. Our generation says there's not, shut up and go play basketball. Well, LeBron's, I'm more than an athlete. I'm speaking out, and he's delivered.
Exactly.
we've seen LeBron raise a white flag before. Everybody, the first time he was in Cleveland and they got in that Boston series and he raised the white flag. Y'all want to see that again and keep comparing him to Jordan? Not going to happen.
Welcome back. Super Bowl champ Reggie Bush, founder of the big league Jason McIntyre. Let's move to Lamar Jackson, who's been getting all kinds of unsolicited advice leading up to this week's combine. From changing his position to not running the 40. But reportedly, Jackson has found someone he's willing to listen to, with a Heisman winner declining to sign with an agent and opting to have his mom serve as his advisor. Whitlock, a red flag to you?
Yeah, unfortunately it is. This is Todd Marinovich's dad. This is LeVar Ball. This is Eli Apple's mom. It's a parent doing too much. And when I first read this, I spent about an hour trying to figure out, what does she do for a living? Is she a lawyer? I thought maybe this, and I can't find out. I've read a lot of stories. She doesn't do interviews.
That's a good thing.
She not do interviews. But yeah, this is a red flag to me. Again, she's a coach of football, and I don't want to denigrate that, but if she's the quarterback coach, now I know why he's so inaccurate.
Brutal.
It's too soon, bro.
But wouldn't you say this, though? When is the last time any of us said, wow, I am so glad that parent stepped in to save their son's professional care's I've never said that in my life.
Never. No.
That's
never.
what worries me.
I think it's a little unfair to go to LeVar Ball route. Like she's not that
crazy.
outspoken. She's not that crazy.
She's not outspoken, but she's doing too much.
Well, that's not to say that, did he say he's never going to hire an agent? Because at this point right now, during the combine, you're answering questions, you're going through all the physical tests. So what's the agent going to do for you? You know what I mean? Other than the fact of maybe to...
His position's up in the air. Some people don't think he's a quarterback. You telling me you don't want an agent advocating for you? Let's say he was repped by Tom Condon, who's repped a lot of great quarterbacks. Mm-hmm. He couldn't use that kind of advice and help right now?
He possibly could, but listen, the tape speaks for itself, right? So for Lamar Jackson, he's going to have to put the owners, the GMs, the coaches' minds at ease by the way he handles the testing, the way he goes out and throws the football in the combine, the way he answers the questions in the interviews that he's going to get from all these different teams. So that's more so
with professionally.
Right, 100%. But when I look back on, when I was coming out, my agent, I needed him to get me the biggest contract possible, right? And that's it. You know what I mean? And whatever else I use him for other than that, that was on me. But for the most part, I need my agent to go get me paid. That's it. Other than that.
You played running back and you had a Heisman Trophy and your talents were
Nobody
unquestioned.
doubted your talent.
You're right.
Yeah,
You're right. It's a little different.
When you sign with an agent as a quarterback, they then get you with a quarterback guru to work out with before the draft, to work on your throwing motion, to make sure that anything they put you through in a workout, you're prepared for. Yeah. There's a lot of benefits to signing with an agent.
I was texting with a couple agents at the Combine asking, what is this about? Why is Lamar doing this? And, I know Annie Apple comes up, and I thought of it too. The concern is the money aspect. Okay, Lamar Jackson is going to be very marketable. Mm-hmm. He's going to be a fan favorite wherever he goes. Mm-hmm. He's going to have a lot of offers. She's not a professional to handle all the money that's going to be thrown at him.
Right.
We saw recently Trent Richardson, what happened with his family and the money. He's bankrupt already. A lot of these athletes have their family involved in the money, and it gets ugly.
Yeah.
That's the big concern. As for a red flag, though, let me take this angle. He's been in kind of a bubble his entire career. He grew up, Lamar Thomas, the great receiver, was a Louisville wide receiver coach. So he went from one bubble, Lamar Jackson, in Boynton Beach to Louisville. He's always had good people around him. As long as he can go to a team where he's got that support staff and his mom is close, I don't think it's going to be a major problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, she's not LeVar Ball.
Right.
It feels like like protection, not promotion.
But protection from what, Colin? That's what I kept looking into. She will not let his youth football coaches give interviews about Lamar Jackson. Nobody talks about him. It's all like there's some kind of either trust issue or they're hiding something. I don't understand why the mom's.
Well, I mean,
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I think we also need to maybe give it a chance too, because I read somewhere that his dad died in a car accident, right?
Yeah.
So at a very early age, this kid was forced to be what they were missing in that household. So there could be other issues or other things that are going on to where, listen, like having your mom there, it's not the worst thing. It's not the best thing, but it's not the worst thing. So maybe if we give it a chance to see where it goes, because I know at some point he is going to have to hire an agent.
I've seen this thing backfire, and I'm trying to be careful here with what I say, but Jeff George, grew up with him.
Yep.
Very close with his family.
Yeah.
And some NFL teams had a problem with that.
Yeah.
That his circle wasn't football people, it was his family. And you know, Jeff George was criticized for being too close to his mother, even when he was at Purdue. And so this isn't the first time this issue has come up. And NFL executives and coaches and stuff like that, man, my parents divorced. I'm very close to my mother. I've had to draw a line in the sand with my mama. My mama is the greatest mama in the history of mamas. But I've had to draw a line and say, no. I'm running.
And I think one of the things that happens is sometimes we look at history and we say, okay, that's why that's not going to work, because history shows. But when you look at, for example, the situation with Philadelphia Eagles this year, right? Carson Wentz went down. Everybody said, Philly is done, because history shows that the gap between the starting quarterback and the backup quarterback is so substantial that it can't possibly work. And look what happened. It worked, and he got the Super Bowl MVP. So all I'm saying is that it's not to say that he's not going to at some point hire an agent.
All right, welcome back to the show. Reggie Bush and Jason McIntyre are back. Let's move to the NFL, where after the New York Times claimed yesterday that Roger Goodell would fine Jerry Jones millions of dollars, new reports indicate that Jones will not be fined, but that the league is seeking reimbursement for legal fees from Jones's attempt to derail Goodell's contract extension and the battle over Ezekiel Elliott's suspension. Reportedly, Jerry's going to fight this. Cowherd, what's your reaction?
Generally, your strength is your weakness. And Jerry's a fighter, and he's a battler, and he's probably litigious, and he's smart, and it's all coming back to bite him.
And stubborn.
This is why he owns the Dallas Cowboys. He is a risk taker. He, you know, I remember when he first got into this league, he was doing Pepsi, the league was doing Coke, and they wanted to sue him.
Yeah.
This is what happens to rich people, successful people. That they have success, they end up being like, I'm a little smarter than the average guy. They take risks they shouldn't take. I mean, Jerry's just being Jerry. This is why he owns the Cowboys, because he's this aggressive.
The greatest winners know when to lose and how to lose. And when you're working with 31 other billionaires, sometimes you got to lose a couple, because Jerry wins most of his battles, and that creates jealousy and envy. And so this is a time to me, Jerry, give them one. The other owners want their money back, their $2 million. Give it to them. Let them have that victory so you can win the long war and complete the stuff that's really important. On this one, I would let it go, give them the money, win the long war, be a humble loser on something small.
I agree with you 100%. You know, this seems like a power struggle, and it also seems like bad blood between Roger Goodell and Jerry Jones that continues to carry over and now into what we see as a legal battle. And, you know, listen, $2 million, we all know that's nothing to Jerry Jones, right? And he can, you know, obviously, and this rule, correct me if I'm wrong, has been in place for about 20 years now. So this is just Jerry Jones, I think, holding some kind of grudge against the NFL and the way they handled Ezekiel Elliott and all the different things that transpired last year, ending up to why the Dallas Cowboys didn't, make the playoffs, what everybody predicted them to be.
I can't believe I'm the only one who loves this. I mean, what's more American than what Jerry Jones is doing right here? You're with me or you're against me. And Roger Goodell's against him, and we're going to war.
Yeah.
I'm not going to back down 1 ounce.
Right.
We got the most powerful NFL owner here, Whitlock. What happens if he rolls over to Goodell? What are the other owners going to say? Are the other power brokers going to be like, oh, geez,
Jason,
Roger Goodell's got the alpha dog.
I can't believe you're saying this because you're married. And no, I'm being dead serious because the one thing you've learned in marriage, being right doesn't matter all the time.
That's very well said.
It does not matter at all. And I think Jerry knows, man, they did me wrong on Ezekiel Elliott.
Yeah.
And you know what? I was right in pushing back against Goodell, and we got some things in the Goodell contract that are better for us. Jerry thinks and knows that he's right. Yeah. But it's so irrelevant when you're in a long-term relationship with other people that are your equals. Being right is virtually irrelevant.
That's a great point. But in his DNA, there is none of that. I'm a normal married guy. Jerry Jones is not a normal businessman. As you said, billionaire, alpha dog. This is one of the wealthiest men probably in all of professional sports. Yep. He's not backing down from Roger Goodell.
Well, over $2 million, is it worth it? Over $2 million?
Yeah, for him.
The other thing is, I know that Goodell, nobody ever sides with him, but let me side with him here. This still feels like it is not Goodell versus Jerry. It's the other owners jealous of Jerry Jones, prodding Goodell, fine him. That's what this feels like to me. And Goodell doesn't want to go after his number one owner.
That's where he's in partnership with these other NFL owners. He's got a little feud going on with Arthur Blank and a handful of other ones. Yeah. They're in a long-term relationship. No one's going anywhere. So again, Jerry, don't worry about being right. Let them have this victory for the long-term peace.
Stan Kroenke's the richest owner in the NFL. Jerry and Stan are close. I think a lot of these owners are like, wait a minute, time out. So Jerry and Stan are boys. Yeah. And they're going to take this league over. We're going to have Super Bowls in Dallas, L.A. Dallas, L.A.
They already got the draft back there.
They got the draft back, and I think the rest of these owners are like, time out.
Yeah.
Okay, we're not going to have Stan and Jerry run the whole league, and they're telling Goodell, get after Jerry.
Yeah. The smart person in a relationship gets what they want over the long haul and realize that they're basically controlling the league. And if you have to lose this small $2 million to maintain control of the league, it's well worth it. Hello and welcome. We're joined today by NBA champion Stephen Jackson and the founder of the Big Lead, Jason McIntyre. Let's start with LeBron James, who led the Cavaliers to a win over the Nets and set a couple of records along the way, becoming the oldest player ever to average a triple-double for an entire month.
Amazing.
And also becoming the first player in NBA history to reach 30,000 points, 8,000 rebounds, and 8,000 assists.
Amazing.
After the game, LeBron James congratulated himself on the achievement.
I've always prided myself on being a triple threat player. I'm not a scorer, but I can put the ball in the hole. I rebound the ball to help my teammates offensively and defensively, and I love to get my guys involved. I don't like to be compared to anybody. I feel like I'm a one-of-a-kind player. I'm a player that this league has never seen before, and I take a lot of pride in that, and I want to continue that, in the near future.
All right, he kept it going on social media, posting on Instagram, quote, "It's just surreal knowing where I come from to accomplish never done before in the league I grew up only dreaming that I could be a part of. Wow." Cowherd, is LeBron more focused on his individual stats than his team success?
No, he's proud of what he's done, and he should be. Muhammad Ali said, "I'm the greatest," and we worshiped him. Michael Jordan punched teammates, called out his high school coach at his Hall of Fame speech. We love him. We cheer him. LeBron's like, I can't believe what I've done. I'm like, I'd be great. First of all, this sport, even the way they light the court, can't see the crowd. The court is lit. It's a stage. This has always been about player empowerment. The NBA is a players' league. Even the coaches, Calipari and Popovich and Phil Jackson and Red Auerbach had egos. I'm never bothered by the play. Kobe had an ego. MJ, we just choose who we like and who we don't like. Muhammad Ali called himself the greatest. We love Muhammad Ali.
There you go again.
Well, I like Muhammad Ali.
No.
My favorite boxer ever.
No question. Muhammad Ali was not worshipped. in the way that LeBron James was. He was actually vilified. And so, yeah, did he throw it in everybody's face? I'm the greatest. I don't care if you don't like it. I don't care if you don't like my name. I don't care if you like my religion. I don't care if you don't like my stance against the Vietnam War. I get Muhammad Ali. LeBron James has people who their daily job is dependent on kissing LeBron James's butt. And I'm not talking about people that work for LeBron. I'm just talking about people in the media who wake up every day, how can I celebrate LeBron James? Muhammad Ali didn't have that. And so this is unnecessary to me. Let the people who have volunteered for that job to kiss LeBron's tail 24/7, let them have that job. Why has LeBron got to do their job too?
And boxing is also a self-promoted sport. You know, you're not on the team. You got to really by yourself, so you got to promote yourself. That's totally different. But with LeBron, it's good. It's cool to pat yourself on the back, but at the same time, you've never seen Mike do that. You've never seen no other great do that, pat himself on the back. We know you're great. This is what we expected from you when you came in the league, to break records and be one of the best of all time. Yeah, we haven't seen this before. You are great, but let somebody else tell you that. And I had a friend tell me LeBron is the only superstar that he's ever seen in 20 years of the NBA that has to be told he's great. He has to be told that for some reason, and the way he pats himself on the back, it looked like it.
Well, with the social media aspect, Stephen, Michael Jordan, if he had Instagram and Twitter, you don't think he would have been talking trash on there and saying how great he was? This is a guy who...
Hold on, was that social media? Was that camera that I just saw him on, was that social media?
Michael Jordan did not have the aspect after every game to go out and speak to everybody the way LeBron can. Worldwide right now, LeBron can do that. But you know what this is setting up, right? Man, I've done everything I can in my power in Cleveland.
Question.
I have averaged a triple-double, Steven Jackson, in February.
Right.
I'm doing up 25, 5, and 5 for 14 straight years. Nobody's done that for 9.
Right.
Boy, I did everything I could, Stephen. I got to go. I got to leave Cleveland now, go somewhere else in the offseason. That's what this is all setting up.
Well,
this is a long
Okay,
game.
well, hold on.
This is a long game.
So he cares more about individual success.
Well, listen, we
than team
know
success.
LeBron James cares about winning. Okay, we know he cares
we
about
do?
winning,
Oh, we
and we
know
know
that.
he
We know
loves
that.
individual.
We can't
stats.
question that. We can't question.
We
his
cannot.
winning.
I'm not
Nah, he wanna
questioning
win.
that.
He wanna win.
But he is setting it up for the departure after this
What does
season.
he care more about, stats or team success?
Winning. Why did he leave for Miami? He needed to win. Why did he go back to Cleveland?
You going back to Miami? I said this year. How is LeBron James operating? Does he care more about his individual stats or his team winning this year?
He knows they're not winning the title, so he's got to pad
By
the
the way,
stats.
you like Tech 9.
Todd, yeah, I love
I'm more Jay-Z.
Yeah,
I love Tech 9 too. Whoop whoop.
Okay, I'm a Jay-Z guy. Jay-Z's music is a celebration to himself. And that's okay.
That's every rapper.
Okay, and you like him because that's the
That's
culture
rap.
of rap. Well, by the way, NBA is player worship. That's what it's always been, shoe deals.
Show me the other NBA player that's doing that.
Well, there's no NBA player that's close to that. So I give him a little bit of a break.
Every rapper does what Jay-Z does.
Right.
Tech 9 does it. Trust me, he's the he thinks he's the best, and he is.
And that's fine. We like that.
But with LeBron, you are the best. That's not in question, so you don't have to pat yourself on the back that much. We all know you are the best. The only reason Cleveland even have a chance, or we even talking about Cleveland winning the East or going to the finals, is because of you, not because of the team. We all know that. Just be great and let us give you your flowers.
But maybe there's something to what Whitlock said about the media. People love to gas up LeBron. There's also a lot of people daily who love to bash him. Oh, he's not Jordan.
Right.
Oh, he's not the best. He's not winning anything
That's a
this year.
handful of
And
people.
LeBron needs to respond to everybody.
No, that's such a small contingent of irrelevant people. LeBron James is magnificent. Again, he's one of the greatest forces I've ever seen in athletics. But there's other parts of his personality. This is based in insecurity. I'm not as good as Mike, so I'm going to try to put together a case that I'm as good as Mike. And for those of you that aren't paying attention, Mike never did this. He never had 30,000 and 8 rebounds or 8,000 rebounds and 8,000 assists. I don't like it. If you're the best, you don't need to do that.
To the NCAA, which is facing some intense criticism in the wake of an FBI investigation into allegations of corruption among the top programs in college basketball. Now maybe the most famous college basketball fan on earth, Barack Obama, has reportedly weighed in, suggesting that the NBA should start its own farm system because the NCAA system is not a sustainable way of doing business. Whitlock, do you think the backlash this backlash by Obama will lead to college basketball players getting paid?
Well, I think it's more than just President Obama, but I do think like President Obama, former President Obama, is the final straw in terms of when you've lost Barack Obama, you've lost the room. When it reaches the level of someone as thoughtful as him, as a passionate basketball fan as him, and he understands his place in American society, when he's calling out the NCAA, I just don't think this system is sustainable. It just doesn't have the credibility with the public to continue on. And so, yes, I think we are finally at a place where the NCAA is going to have to take some accountability for the problems in itself and change.
Well, you know who's going to change this? The courts, just like the Ed O'Bannon case. What this really is tyranny of the mob. You know, the mob, this is what the mob is. Currently, the internet mob is on.
I'm a part of that. Go ahead.
Yeah. It was for a while, everybody was racist.
Right.
In the whole world. And now it's NCAA's terrible people. Again, 99% of kids who get scholarships are well served. Now, I don't like the one and done rule. You know that. I don't like the idea that I make you a fortune as a college football player and I can't even get a digital check. You know, look, we agree on that. But in the end, this is the way it happens. March Madness will end, and then the angry tyranny of the mob will move to another topic and beat up somebody else. Now the NCAA, because the football season's over, we didn't talk about during football season, we got this month period where we talk college basketball, so let's crush them.
Listen, Colin, these leaks from the FBI, this isn't on accident. There are people ready for the NCAA's amateurism thing to end. That's how FBI leaks happen. And so, and again, if you go dig down deep into this story, some of this stuff, allegations are really flimsy. And so again, the leak is intentional because there are people in power that want to push the NCAA along into changing its system. And that's not going to stop. This, again, it may take a year, may take 2 years, but there are about to be major changes to the NCAA amateurism system, in my view.
It's a new day. It's a new day. We know our worth now. We don't need you to tell us our worth. We know our worth, and we want what we worth, regardless of what our age is. And that's just basically what it is. You can't tell these kids that they can't make money. You can't tell them they can't be successful. We know how successful we want to be. We know what we're worth at a young age now. We know that now. So coming into college, if you're not going to pay us, you got to find a way to pay us, or we're not going to come to college. And that's just what it is. That's what it's come down to.
I like Cowherd's internet mob mentality. We make fun of social media a lot, Whitlock. You and I privately, we talk about it. There's groupthink everywhere, and, you know, it's empty calories. I've compared it to fast food. But occasionally, you'll find a topic that'll pop into your feed, and you'll be like, whoa, I might have to check out this story. And I think that's what's happening here with the NCAA story. A lot of people who previously had no idea that the March Madness TV contract was $8.8 billion. And the athletes don't see a cent. And there's a lot of housewives and dads who don't follow sports are like, wait, what's going on here? And I think that's coming out now, and I think we're going to see for sure the athletes get paid sooner than later.
I just think sometimes there's a momentum. Laws and rules only have validity when there's massive public support for them, or at least a 51% public support. I just don't think the NCAA rules now carry any weight of integrity or authority because the public is out on the NCAA. They've lost. And they've held on to power and held on to this system for as long as they can. But now responsible people, President Obama is not someone that's thrown into emotional fits or just says things irresponsibly. When he was the president, he said some things about the NCAA and how unfair the system was. He's doubling down now because, again, he's a politician. He knows which way the wind is blowing. And the wind is blowing against the NCAA, and I'm so glad this time is here. It's outlived its usefulness. I used to be, in the early 90s, I was a big defender of the NCAA and amateurism. I flipped as more and more money got poured into this system, and coaches started making these obscene amounts of money, and you want to deprive the kids, and I'm not talking about all of them. Don't pay me. I was a mediocre mid-American college football player. Don't pay the second-string guy at Alabama or whatever. But the guys that generate the revenue, the guys that people are tuning in to see, they need a cut of this bread.
Who's going to decide who they are?
I think, in my view, and again, my solutions are the professional leagues need to be involved. College football and basketball have been great farm systems for the professional leagues. They need to be footing the bill on paying these guys.
Good luck with that.
I don't think.
Why can't we let the free market decide? What's wrong with letting the free market decide if an athlete is a big-time college basketball player and guess what? The local car dealership wants to sponsor him and pay him money for commercials. Let that happen.
But regardless
What's
of how
wrong
they
with
do it, it's going to be beneficial for both sides. Because if you're
I
paying these
agree.
kids, you got more kids coming, you got better kids coming, and you still benefiting at the end of the day.
I agree, but if we go there, the car dealership, local car dealership, Lord have mercy, that's how guys like me end up getting some money. And again, I didn't deserve any. The education was enough.
Welcome back. Joined now by Hall of Famer Ray Lewis. Congratulations, Ray.
My guys, appreciate you, man.
This is awesome, man.
Appreciate you.
It's awesome. It's
Mama
like
proud of me?
Jim Brown in his prime sitting next to me, man. This is awesome.
Also joined by former Pro Bowler T.J. Hushmanzada. We like you, too.
Appreciate it.
All right. Let's
Former teammate, too.
There you go.
buddy.
Let's move to the National Football League, which admitted yesterday, it's kind of wild, that Des Bryant's infamous non-catch in the playoffs should have been ruled complete, and saying that they will consider simplifying the controversial catch rule this offseason. That's not the only change up for debate. The league will also look into limiting pass interference penalties to 15 yards. Boy, is that long overdue. College got that right years ago. Whitlock, which change would have a bigger impact, the catch rule or PI?
Pass interference is the rule they need to address. I've never found the catch rule complicated. I've never found it controversial. Pass interference is what drives me crazy. It's way too punitive. It's way too ticky-tack. And you know, giving people, it's been moving. We have some stats here. In 2007, pass interferences plus 20, there were 54. This past season, there were 99.
It is punitive.
It's just happening too often, too big of an impact on the game.
Well, you are a former football player, so you are in a 3% knowledge base. You're an intense, knowledgeable football fan. For football fans, I agree with you.
Good point.
The catch rule for the guy at the bar, okay, who's drinking a Budweiser, that ticks him off because that's offense, that affects his fantasy team, that affects commerce. Football people, I've been on this for years. College football got pass interference right. NFL's been sitting there for 30 years screwing it up. The catch, I think, hurt ratings to a small degree. It can never confuse the consumer. When you go to a grocery store, I don't want don't make me guess where the bread is and the eggs are. Like, don't make a confusing grocery store. NFL last couple of years, I don't know what to catch. They talk about the process, surviving the ground. I don't even know what that stuff means. This rule, PI's for football guys. The catch is for the masses. They didn't get it.
It's a good point.
What's more important? That's a tough question. They have to be consistent. Whatever they're gonna, if it looks like a catch, it's a catch. And to me, that's just obvious. The pass interference call, that's so subjective. Because if I'm a DB and I'm beat, I'm gonna just tackle you if I know I got 15 yards.
They don't do that in college.
They're not smart enough to realize that. When the guys in the league, you get beat, I'm going to just tackle you. 15 yards, live to play another down. The catch rule has cost the Cowboys a playoff victory against Green Bay. Obvious. The catch rule this year cost Pittsburgh home field advantage against New England, possibly a trip to the Super Bowl. So for me, it's just make it consistent. Whatever you're going to go with, roll with it, and be very consistent with it.
First of all, everything that we talk about is always helping the offense. How can we stop the offense? How can we stop this? This is one of the worst things that I've said in football for a long time. If I'm on defense, I got my 11, and I beat you man to man. I beat you man to man. You draw up your call, I draw up my call. And we dominate you. But you can just throw back and just throw up a pass. Like last year's Jacksonville game against the New England Patriots. If you're a quarterback like Tom Brady, you're saying, I'm going to get this every time. And the most embarrassing rule, 2009, 2011, we went to New England. And I kept saying over and over, it's embarrassing that y'all let them get away with that. 15 yards, that's the only thing. You cannot spot foul that.
Yeah.
To spot foul that.
A 60-yard penalty.
That's a 60. And I'm telling you, to
don't PI them 60 yards on the field, and it won't be a spot foul.
That is so not.
That is so not what you should be talking about.
Yeah.
Seriously, what? There's no way you can defend it. Huge. Like,
Yeah, you can.
TJ, how?
Don't PI them. That's how you defend it.
You
They
can't.
so ticky-tack with
It is, man.
Any
Now-
little incidental contact. They too ticky-tack, TJ.
You look at that pass on Boye last year.
That was pass
First,
interference.
It wasn't even catchable. The
It was
ball was
not-
out of bounds.
It was PI. It was not catchable. I will agree with that. It wasn't
That's not
catchable.
a PI.
Now, that's the referee's fault. That's the official's fault. They have to get some type of consistency in how they call it and what
But
they're
again,
calling.
pass interference it's a sophisticated, debatable play. The catch should be really easy. Listen,
Very.
PI is always going to be tough. It's a jump ball in basketball. It's the hardest play to officiate. When we're struggling with you have ball security 2 feet down and you're telling me it's not a catch.
Here's my issue, though, Colin. There's 3 of those plays a year.
What plays? The catch.
Catch or no catch a
Very
year.
true.
Three of those plays a year that are controversial. Damn near every game I turn on, there's a controversial pass interference call. Every game. Again, consistency would help, but also the punitive nature of it, man, moving a guy down 25, 30 yards downfield on some bogus stuff.
Wait, listen to me. Okay. If you're catching a football, catch the football. If you're making a tackle, there's no such thing as a half tackle. There's no such thing as a half tackle. If something is in your hand and I knock it out, there's no such thing as a half fumble. If I knock that out of your hand without you liking it, that's a doggone fumble. We can go all the way back to the tuck rule with Brady. I mean, guys, I'm just saying from a defensive perspective, how we are catering so much to offenses. If I do something against your will, that's called a turnover. It'll never change in all of sports. But now we've said, oh, the ball looked like it was wobbling. Oh, his hand looked like it was coming forward. If it's against your will, we win as defense. Once again, with the pass interference.
And people want to see points scored, man. They don't want to see no 6-3
points
6-3 game.
Why do you don't want to see a 6-3 game?
That's boring.
People want to see great competition.
Absolutely.
In my opinion.
Right.
They want to see great competition. Y'all have made it into, because of fantasy football, people want to see scoring.
Of course.
But people want to see great competition. And Ray, if I understand your point, you think you don't have a real problem with the catch rule. If you knock the ball out of the guy's hand in any kind of way on his way to the ground, you stick with that.
Absolutely.
But you also think the pass interference thing should be limited to 15 yards.
The problem,
15 yards.
The problem with pass interference is you can actually defend it well and trip a guy.
Yes.
The problem is there's a component of luck. Pass interference. You could literally cover the wheel route perfectly as a linebacker, and your legs get tangled up, and it costs you 42 yards.
What happens when a guy is beat for a touchdown and guys just start tackling guys?
It doesn't happen.
It will happen.
It doesn't happen
if they
in college
change
football.
Because they're not smart enough.
Yeah, they are.
If they change,
you played college football. He played.
I wasn't
college
smart
football.
enough when I was in college.
We were smart enough.
If they change this rule, guys will intentionally tackle you. Why wouldn't you? They should
It'll be a
expect that.
penalty. It'll be a penalty, 15 yards. You'll get bonuses for it.
But you could possibly have a touchdown.
Guys, you know what? Y'all need to cut this mess.
Catch the ball. All right, welcome back. Ray Lewis and Steven Jackson are back. Let's move to the NBA, where Kevin Durant was asked in a new interview about the ongoing NCAA corruption scandal and raised an interesting point about something that happens on the NBA level that he thinks is contributing to the problem.
They gotta stop publicizing how much money we make as NBA players, because it's driving these parents,
It's driving
and these
everybody
kids crazy.
Good point.
Crazy. So now they're saying, oh, such and such just made $200 million on a 5-year deal. What you think these parents now talking about? They're not even worrying about the game no more. It's like, oh yeah, you need to go make that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Whereas back in the day, I didn't know what none of these dudes was making.
Cowherd, you agree with KD?
No, it's too idealistic. I mean, people are going to talk about salaries. You know what? It's about parenting. I tell my kids all the time, don't chase money, chase passion. If a kid's freaking out and talking about money, then you sit down with mom and dad, and everybody wants to have kids. How about parent them? How about talk to them? How about communicate with them? How about teach them?
It's harder some places and some zip codes than others.
Well, it may be.
Much harder. Much harder.
But I mean, his belief system here is very idealistic. Nobody talk money. You don't think that's going to get out?
Let me tell you where he's wrong, again, because he didn't know what guys were making. That's bull. I remember when Magic Johnson, 25 years, $25 million. Of
course.
I remember that as a kid. we've been knowing the salaries of athletes for a long time. What has happened, though, is the numbers have gotten so astronomical, and it does create problems for athletes in terms of the phone calls from cousins, high school classmates, aunties and uncles, and everything start coming, and it is a headache. Again, there's nothing that can be done about it, as you said, but he does have a point. This does create major complications for the athletes, and his point is that a lot of people aren't focused on the game anymore. They're focused on what the game can do for them and how much money they can make.
Is it possible that money motivates people?
I agree, and that's what the only change I would make here, where I kind of agree with him, is I wish that in all these leagues, baseball, football, everything, that there was some part of the money attached to actually wins and losses, that you made some part of your money based off winning and losing.
Well, money motivates me. Oh, yeah. Oh,
Jack,
yeah.
it motivate Jack.
Money motivates me.
So when you knew how much NBA guys made, it made you work harder.
But that's not the problem. The problem is the parents see these big contracts and see these players are not that good. So my son doesn't have to be that good to make $200 million now. That's the problem. You paying these players all this money and they're not producing. So when the parents sit back and look at, okay, even if my son's not that good, his chances are great now because they paying Chandler Parsons $100 million and he's averaging 6 points. You dig what I'm saying? So that's the bigger problem. It's not them publicizing how much they make.
It's paying average players a ton.
Exactly.
You know what?
But everybody don't want to say that.
Right. Jack, I love you to death, man. I'm glad I'm on here with you, Jack. That Jack,
Appreciate it, my brother.
real. Yes, sir. No, I tell you this. When you think about, and I've been looking at this from a different perspective for a long time. So it's interesting. The only reason I don't agree with KD, I agree with him where he's going with it, but there's another side of it that I don't think athletes ever think about. And this is, for me, that's why I'm in the businesses that I'm in. Because players' money stopped attracting me a long time ago. I never worried about a man's check. Man make a lot of money, that's great. But I'm not excited about the man who makes a lot of money. I'm excited about the man who's able to pay him that type of money.
Right.
See, that's one thing about players that I think we find ourselves in a very interesting spot when the game is over. Yeah, you were that guy who done that. So then go capitalize off of that. But don't just remain a player. Go figure out how to become an owner. Right? And that's where I think when you start to think about what these neighborhood kids, what KD is talking about, what these neighborhood kids are seeing, they're seeing these numbers. Oh my gosh, 200 million. You know, this Boyville Houston, he makes 225 million. And I'm saying to myself, well, suppose you ever thought about if you was not athletic enough, possibly being the person who pays the 220 million. But we don't dream that far because they mesmerize us with player contracts. It's all a trickery of the game to say the only thing you'll ever do is strive to be great enough to make an NFL or NBA contract. But how many of us try enough to be great to say one day I own what you own? That's kind of what I think, guys.
Yeah, because like take Mark Cuban. He didn't own the Mavericks because of his great playing career.
100%.
Right. He invented something.
So guess what he said? He flipped it. He flipped it. He said my athletic ability won't get me what I want. So I'll flip it and go own a team.
I do think, you know, money is not an evil thing, though. I think money is often opportunity. I think sometimes, forget just the figure of money. Money is opportunity. Money gets you your mother a house. It gets you transportation. I think publicizing the salaries kind of lets people know, listen, man, I work hard. There are gold bricks at the end. I mean, listen, when I got into my career, I'll never forget this. So you're a newspaper guy. So I'm a young kid. I'm like 18 years old, 19 years old. And I go visit the local newspaper because I want to be a sports writer. And I drive into the parking lot with my old beater car. And it's just a bunch of beater cars. And then I go to the local TV affiliate. And I see a cabriolet and a BMW. And I'm like, I want to be in TV and radio, not a newspaper. So it wasn't about a dollar figure. It was, man, the TV station was opportunity. Somebody there made money. Newspaper parking lot was old VW bugs, and it was cars that didn't look. So
Those
I think,
of us that believed in America were over there.
but I think sometimes when you know the money, it's like, listen, that guy's 6'3", I'm 6'3", he loves hoop, he's from my hometown.
Yeah.
He played on the AAU team I did. It's a caveat, it's out there, you're chasing that thing.
Yeah. I don't think it's money. I think it's a love of money.
Well, issues of family and money are hardly limited to the NBA. Lamar Jackson arrived at the NFL Combine today, where reportedly he's opted to forego agency representation, instead choosing to be represented by his own mom. Whitlock, I don't think you like this. You think he's going to regret this decision?
Yeah, I think that this is an indication that, he's too close to his mom and not making. Yeah, you can be too close. Again,
I can't never be too close to my mom.
You can be.
I hit you with the Scooby-Doo.
You can be too close to your mom and not step up as a full-grown man and take control of your situation. It happens all the time. It's an issue in our community because a lot of guys grow up without dads and they're so dependent on their mom. He needs better advice.
Hey, one of the criticisms of Lonzo Ball was like his dad always did the talking for him. Mm-hmm. I mean, there is something.
Yeah.
Now, if Lonzo had been in the league 10 years, we wouldn't say that. But I've heard more people, I'm not one of them, but I've heard people say, Lonzo's not his own man. His dad's doing all the talking. Could I make the argument, dude, you're a quarterback. You can't have your mom representing you.
Well, I'm from the country, and I can't never love my mom enough.
It's not about loving
looking
her.
at the camera, I love you so much, I can't love you enough. But I'm just saying, like, his mom knows his worth. He knows his worth. At this point, he's coming new to the league.
Would you let your mom represent you as an agent?
You know what? I represent myself.
Would you let your mom, that was your dodging, would you let your mom be your agent?
No, but I would let her handle my money because that's basically what she's doing. She's not really representing him. She's basically handling his money. He's gonna make all the decisions. That's all that really is. But who has your best interest at heart more than your mom? Nobody. So if that's the chance,
doesn't mean she's the best person to handle your money.
You're exactly right. But if I have to take a chance and go out with someone, I'm gonna go out with my mama. That's just real.
You wouldn't let her.
I understand that.
You know what? I'm with Jack on this, because one of the biggest mistakes I think young players make when we get this type of money or this type of opportunity is the first person we go to trust is an agent that we don't even know. We know nothing about them. We know their backgrounds. We know nothing, but we go immediately and say, oh, I'll give you 3%. 3% of what I work for, because what Lamar Jackson is about to get is already signed on the dotted line. Mm-hmm. Wherever he's slotted at, that's what number he's getting. Now, what I would tell him to tread carefully about with his mom is make sure you both understand the business wholeheartedly, all the way through. Seek advice.
That's hard, though.
But even if it's hard, Colin, I'm telling you.
Experience is the best teacher.
It's sometimes, sooner or later, we got to change the narrative. Sooner or later, we got to stop making all these agents rich. Man, we're making them filthy rich, wealthy.
What's the matter with making Eugene Parker rich?
What you mean? Why not make my mama wealthy?
Same difference.
Same difference. If we all go through the education process together, it's one of the things that I'm starting to teach now in a lot of business about financial literacy, about understanding what your money means for you. Not somebody else count your money and tell you, hey, I think you should do this or I think you should do that. Like, how many guys do not have a structure set up when they start to receive that type of money?
I agree. Listen, moms are great.
They're amazing.
Particularly happen to believe I have the greatest one ever invented. So, but as an agent, as a financial advisor, there's preparation that goes into that. And I'm going to go real big picture here, because this is, and I wish we had more time to talk about it, because this is a black issue. Black men and their mothers and how we interact. It's a major issue in a positive and there's some negatives or complications to it. But I'm gonna ask both of y'all. Y'all ever watch Roots? Mm-hmm. The TV. Go watch the first episode again and see how we were supposed to be trained as men, go off to manhood training, and come back. And even our mothers answered to us after we went through the manhood training. We're supposed to step up and be the leaders. And instead, We never break that cycle. And Mama's leading. I know some people 50 years old, and Mama's still the head of them. We have a cycle.
But that's out of respect, though.
Yeah, that's out of. He's changing
just out of
the
respect.
narrative.
Aren't there already?
Point blank.
Lamar is one of those quarterbacks where half the league's in, half the league's not. It's not like Elway. Right.
Yeah, that's
so
fair.
there's some questions. Couldn't I argue it kind of adds another question? Even if you're right, it's so unique.
It is.
That there's going to be a GM like, I just don't feel good with this. This feels youthful. Like even if because there's already about half the league on him is like, what if another
But
GM?
they do that about every black quarterback.
No, they don't.
Oh, my goodness.
No, they don't. We
They say-
have to go at the top of the
They say
draft.
every black quarterback can't do this, can't do that. He
Cam
should be a
Newton went number
receiver. He
one.
should.
Nah, Deshaun Watson, Jameis Winston. There's a lot of guys. It used to be.
If her credibility,
Said the same thing about Mike Vick.
right? If all the things that she knows, if they went into this together, why I get it what you're saying, right? All you want to do is be informed. I get it, but if you have the same ability to go read the exact same books, to go study exact the way the contract negotiations go what?
But Tom Conlon's got 25, 35 years of experience at it. That he trained for it for,
You're calling out the top of tops. Think about how many.
He's Lamar Jackson.
I graduated high school, no college degree. I negotiated my own extension while I had while I was on a 2-year deal. 3 years, $30 million, my own extension with
Did
no
your mom
agent.
do it or did you do it?
What I'm saying is anybody can learn it. It don't have to be somebody that's already doing it. Anybody can pick it up. We can comprehend.
Sooner or later, you got to start counting your own money. That's the narrative. If nothing he did with his mama,
I can do it, his mom
sooner or
can
later
do
you
it.
got to start counting your own money. So I like it. I'm a
Who negotiates yours?
And his last name Jackson. I'm rolling.
You got a big agent?
I have representation.
Okay.
So does Ray. So does Steven.
No, I don't. I represent myself.
Really?
Archer's right there.
I can't wait.
I
to
like
take,
Mr. Jackson.
I'm gonna take you to the cleaners.